Chapter 6, Picnic. I finally sat down to work and was so focused that I didn't even notice when the day slipped into the afternoon. I was finishing the last document when suddenly the screen went black. For a moment, I didn't even understand what had happened. Then, heat rushed through me. My hands started shaking. Panic. Oh no. No, no, no. Not this. Anything but this. I shot up and stared at the screen in disbelief. Nervously, I started pacing with my hands on my head, completely lost. Then I did the only thing I could think of. Jen! I shouted from the terrace, hoping he'd hear me in his room. Well, it turned out he wasn't the only one who heard me. From my and the neighboring one, two versions of the same face came running at the same time. Jen reached me first, clearly alarmed. A moment later, Mark rushed in from across the yard. If the situation hadn't been so serious, I would have laughed at how perfectly synchronized they were. But instead, I just pointed helplessly at the dead computer, my hands pressed to my cheeks. When they saw the reason for my panic, they both stopped. And looked at me, one annoyed, the other disbelieving. But I was serious, and he knew I didn't lose my temper easily. Please, do something. You know how much irreplaceable data I have on there. And I was just finishing an extremely important document. Oh God, I was already pacing again, almost on the verge of tears. That must have convinced them, because suddenly both of them started firing questions at me. Both convinced I had definitely done something wrong. Hey! I raised my voice. You two geniuses, aren't you supposed to be some kind of computer experts? How about one of you actually looked at the computer instead of interrogating me? I was already completely irritated. Jen reacted first. Without a word, he sat down at the computer and immediately started typing. Mark stood to the side. He stepped closer but didn't say a single word. The screen flickered for a moment. And then, nothing. Black. Just a dead screen. Jen leaned back slightly, still focused on the monitor. All what came out of him was a thoughtful. I looked at him carefully. And what does, mean? He didn't look at me.
It means nothing good.
Great, I said dryly, throwing my hands up and letting them fall back down.
Did it act weird before?
Jen asked. Not really. It was lagging a bit. That's it. Nothing special. He tried to start it again. No response.
Well, apparently it was something special.
Mark gave a small smile and rubbed his chin. He stepped closer, positioning himself just behind Jen. Silence fell between them. There was a quiet understanding, like they were communicating without words.
Disk?
Jen said calmly. Mark nodded slightly.
Yeah. Do you have another laptop?
I do, but mine isn't powerful enough. And I don't have the software or the cable to connect them. I knew I should have taken everything with me.
He exhaled in frustration. Jen was irritated, I was panicking, and Mark. He looked completely relaxed.
Would you be able to fix it yourself if I got you everything you need?
He asked calmly. Jen looked almost offended.
Of course. It's not rocket science.
Mark's smile deepened. He turned to leave, then looked at me. His fingers briefly brushed mine, subtle, almost accidental. He glanced over his shoulder at Jen, then back at me.
Don't worry. We'll sort it out. I'll make a few calls and be right back.
He said quietly as he stepped closer. There was pride in his eyes, clear, steady. His look said more than words ever could. He left, and when he came back, he wasn't alone. I couldn't believe my eyes. I jumped up with joy and threw myself into the arms of someone I haven't seen since I left 20 years ago. For a few seconds, all my problems simply disappeared. He caught me with one arm, shifting the things he was holding into Mark's hands. Then he wrapped me up properly with both arms and lifted me off the ground, smiling broadly. When he set me down, I grabbed his face. Andre. Is it really you? I mean, what are you doing here?
I heard there was some kind of crisis at your place.
He replied, still smiling. First he looked at me, then at Mark, who stood nearby with a relaxed smile and crossed arms. Finally, he turned to Jen. Without hesitation, he walked straight up to him. They shook hands, and Jen gave a faint, almost reluctant smile.
Hi, I'm Andre. I assume you're the son of this troublemaker.
He added teasingly. Right after that, they fell into conversation, then came silence, typing, explanations, and back-and-forth discussion. I don't know how long it took, when both of them smiled with quiet satisfaction. They fixed it. Saved all my data and I was over the moon. You know what? This little reunion of ours needs something. I got hungry just watching all this. It would be a sin not to take advantage of the moment and make up for lost time. I sat them down, brought them each a beer, then dialed the number of the best local restaurant and ordered food. My next call was to Petra. Hey, babe. I greeted her like in the old days. I've got a job for you. Pack up the kids, grab your swimsuits, and on your way over, stop by Baukank. I've already ordered food, and your hubby is already here too. Loud laughter spilled from the other end. While I was setting the table, I watched Mark and Andre standing a short distance away, deep in conversation. The yard wasn't big. Still, they were far enough that I couldn't hear them. I could only see their serious expressions, especially Andre's. He was saying something to Mark with intensity, while Mark stared down at the ground.
Is anyone going to help me, or are you all just going to stand there like wooden posts?
Petra's ever-cheerful voice rang out from the driveway as she stepped out of the car. I smiled. I was happy to see my friend, and finally meet her kids, well, more of a young adults in person. Mark, Andre. Could you give her a hand, please? Jen, come down. I called toward the house. Welcome to my oasis, I said, stepping up to Petra and pulling her into a tight hug. Her hugs were always the best, warm and genuine. Andre was already beside us, wrapping both of us in a bear hug and lifting us off the ground. We burst out laughing and groaning at the same time, convinced he was about to crush every bone in our bodies. Mark stayed back in the yard, watching from a safe distance. Jen, like a mirror of his father, stood quietly on the terrace, waiting things out. Oh wow, that smells amazing. Go on, take it up so you're not holding it too long. Then straight to the table while it's still hot, I said. Petra helped me set everything up, and soon we were all seated. The atmosphere was perfect, full mouths, laughter, drinks, and conversation flowing naturally across the table. Jen, Luca, and Eva had, as if by silent agreement, taken seats together at one end. They clicked instantly. It was obvious they had plenty in common. They kept bursting into laughter. Jen looked relaxed, more than I'd seen him in a long time. As soon as they finished eating, they headed for the pool and continued their hangout there. At our table, Andre naturally took on the role of entertainer. Telling the worst jokes ever, laughter. Real, uncontrollable. Tears streamed down our faces. Oh my God, Andre, that joke is older than Wi-Fi, I laughed out loud. Petra was practically collapsing over the table. Even Mark, he was laughing too. That rare, genuine laugh that softened his face for a moment. His gaze was fixed on me. He looked at me like nothing else existed. Like I was the only thing in the world. My eyes drifted toward him. Time slowed. The laughter faded into the background. For a second, I saw something in him, something old. Something dangerously familiar. The tension between us stretched like a thin thread, ready to snap. And that was the most terrifying part. His gaze drifted, almost unwillingly, toward the pool, toward the sound of laughter. Children laughing. His child, it hit him straight in the chest. Harder than he was ready for. I had just turned my gaze away from him towards the pool. When I saw them. My chosen family, a sister who wasn't one by blood, a brother in everything but name, and him. Where was I even supposed to place him? An ex-partner? A lover? The father of my child? He had been all of that. But what was he now? What were we, if anything at all? Petra was animatedly explaining something, Andre chiming in, or at least trying to, which only made them both laugh. The kids were lost in their own world of water and laughter. And then there was us. Together, and yet not. The laughter around me was loud, but it reached me as if from far away, like it was passing right through me. Something felt off. A strange sensation, like something had shifted. But what? Lost in thought, I walked across the lawn when I felt it. A gaze. Steady. Determined. I lifted my head and saw him. Leaning against the railing of my terrace, as if he belonged there. As if it was the most natural thing in the world. But the way he looked at me. There was something new in his eyes. Something certain. As if something inside him had awakened. My chest tightened, not painfully, but enough to make my heart skip. That look. I feared it. I had seen it before. Once, I had searched for it. Later. I had tried to run from it. I looked away. Too quickly. Wounded. A wave passed through me, not pain, but the memory of it, one I thought I had escaped.
Are you okay?
Petra asked carefully as she walked toward me. Yes, I answered shortly. She nodded without a word. She knew something was going on with me. Slowly, she exhaled and walked beside me toward the terrace.
We should probably start heading out soon. School is tomorrow, and the kids still need to get ready.
I laughed. Kids? Really? Luca is 2 heads taller than you. And Eva, she's a gem. I have to admit, I'm surprised they even wanted to come with you.
Yeah? What if I tell you the magic word? Bribery. You're never too old for that.
We both laughed. What else was there to do?